What's up guys, my name is Lauren and welcome back to my channel. February is over, so let's take a look at the budget. Every single month on my channel, I show you guys what we're budgeting for the month, and then I do a budget recap to show you if we stuck to our budget, how we spent our money for the month. So that is this video. I'm going to show you guys everything we spent in February for my family, and if you like this spreadsheet, you can actually get it for yourself in my Etsy shop. It will be linked in the video description. So for February, we had budgeted for total income of $7,300, and we actually brought in $7,724. Always nice when you bring in more than you're planning. That was a difference of $424, and we were able to sell some things on Facebook Marketplace, plus we got some like delayed Christmas money that came in and some birthday money for my husband, so that all just got thrown right into the budget, and we were able to bring in more income this month, which we then mostly put towards our financial goals, which is always nice as well. So for financial goals, first we have pay yourself first, my Roth IRA. So we had budgeted $100 this month, and we were able to put that $100. So that's how much we put to investing from our net income, because this is my net budget spreadsheet, from our net income in February. So $100 to pay yourself first, and then for debt, our last debt on our debt-free journey is my husband's student loan. So we paid the minimum payment of $830 and an extra debt payment of $340, which was more than the $95 we had budgeted. Oh, and by the way, I meant to say this at the beginning. This rarely happens. I think this is the first time it's happened since I started sharing our budget here on YouTube, like in over almost 2 years. On the first of the month, some changes happened with some of our expenses and some of our income, and so I actually went in and changed the budget around after I did my February budget with me. So for example, there was only $23 budgeted, I think, for extra debt payments in the prior budget, and I changed it to $95, and like I forget what else I changed. It was last month. I can't remember at this point, but I did make some changes, and that's not typical. So if I don't remember what the changes were at this point, like I'm sure you guys don't remember, but I just wanted to point that out, that I did make changes to the budget like on the 1st of February. And so it's different than the budget with me I showed on my video for February. So anyway, $95 we had budgeted for extra debt payments, and we put $340, which was great. That was an extra $245 to debt. And so $1,170 went towards the debt payments for February. All right, so next, moving on to expenses. So we've got all of our fixed expenses and a few variable expenses. So our condo fee, mortgage, life insurance, internet security, car insurance, cell phone, and Spotify are all fixed. And then we've got groceries. We went over on groceries. We budgeted $1,000 and we spent $1,110. So I talked about this in my March budget with me, but we are increasing our grocery budget. Basically what's been going on is my baby is now not so little anymore and she eats solids, so we've got another mouth to feed, so we really should be increasing our grocery budget. So we're increasing it by $25 a week because I grocery shop once a week, and so yeah, we're gonna be doing like $1,100 going forward, so hopefully that'll cover everything we need for the new food we're buying. And then for gas, we spent $142 and we budgeted $150, so that was right on track. And then miscellaneous, we spent $26, so we budgeted $25, so same thing. So we had budgeted $3,725 for expenses, and we spent $3,828, so that was over by $103, which is really because of the groceries. Okay, so for sinking funds, let's take a look. It's my favorite part of the budget. It's like such a game changer. If you guys aren't doing sinking funds, like this is what really got us on track with our budgeting when we were just like not good at budgeting. Like sinking funds changed everything. And sinking funds, if you're not familiar, it's where you take a little bit of money every single month and put it to a fund for a specific expense, and sometimes you spend money out of it every month if it's a certain type of fund, like for example utilities, we spend out of our utilities sinking fund every month, and then other things like car maintenance we don't spend every month, but we put money into it. Well, I should say, that's not a good example because we didn't put money into it this month, but most months we put money into it. And so when anything car related comes up, we've got money set aside, and it's not like a hit to our budget. We're not budgeting, not taking into account these other like miscellaneous expenses that come up, but come up like irregularly. So let's take a look. First of all, for our emergency fund, we started with a balance of $2,500. We actually have an emergency fund of $7,500, but $5,000 I moved to our high yield savings account because the rates are just so good. And we just were keeping $2,500 in our checking account. But then it was just like getting a little bit too close for comfort with the balance in there. Like I don't like the balance in our checking account to go under $1,000, and it was getting into like that range with not having our so much of our emergency fund in there anymore. And it's just because of the timing of like when we get paid and when our bills come out. All of our big bills come out within the first 10 days of the month, and we don't always get paid within the first 10 days of the month, or at least my husband's paycheck doesn't. I pay myself like kind of when I want to, because usually I take the prior month's income and like pay myself with that, so I know how much to pay myself. But anyway, so yeah, it just was cutting it a little too close. So I added back another $2,500 from our emergency fund. And so there's only $2,500 in the high yield savings account, and then $5,000 in our main checking account now. So that's why the ending balance is $5,000, and that's where this $2,500 was from. All right, for our vacation fund, we didn't spend anything, so that balance is still $1,500. All right, so for our medical sinking fund, I made a change with this going into March. So we had $195 in here, and then we spent $195, so I just decided to like close it out and move to cash flowing our medical expenses, because we just have March and then our deductible year resets and we have our FSA dollars again. So for March, I know like our medical bills should be minimal, and I think I put enough money into our budget. Well, not super minimal. I put $250 into our budget, and that hopefully will cover everything. Just with everybody continuing to get sick, and just like the regular appointments that we have every month. Like I go to therapy every month, twice a month, so that's a $20 copay every time. So stuff like that. Hopefully $250 will cover it for next month. But yeah, I closed out this sinking fund because we're not gonna be using it after March anyway. So yeah, just kind of trying to minimize the sinking funds. Before I used to have like so many sinking funds. I got like really excited about sinking funds when we first started using them, and I had like a lot. And now I'm trying to like pare them down and simplify it a little bit. So zero in this medical fund, closing that out going forward, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, for my husband's spending money, my spending money, and my two daughters' spending money, I block it off. But my husband got $200, and my daughters and I each got $150. A lot of times you guys ask like why we give him more and the girls, we all get less. And actually you'll see in March, if you watched that video already, we're all at 150 now. So we're gonna try to all be at 150 going forward. We'll see how that works out. All right, so for girls activities / preschool, we started out with $16 in this fund. We budgeted $1,000, and I actually only put $976 into the fund. We spent $963 and ended with $29 in there. I did want to put a little bit more towards debt to make sure we hit $1,000 of debt paid off for the month. And so I knew that we had a little bit of wiggle room in this fund, so I just decided to take some money from the fund and use that to put towards debt instead. And so that's why I changed it. We still have $29 to end, so it's still a positive number. And so yeah, I was glad to be able to just adjust that a little bit so we can make sure we hit that $1,000 paid off for debt for the month. That's another reason why I like sinking funds, is because it gives you like a little bit of wiggle room if you don't end up spending the sinking fund, as to like, you know, hit different goals or move money around towards the end of the month if you see, oh, I want to pay an extra $25 towards debt or something like that. All right, Miles expenses. So he started out with $212. Miles is my cat, if you didn't know, by the way. We budgeted $250 for him, and that's how much actually went to his fund. We spent $204. He had his annual checkup, and he is very healthy, looking great. He does need a teeth cleaning though, which is gonna be about $1,000. This is the first time he'll have it done. They have to put him under anesthesia and like clean his teeth so they don't get an infection because of like tartar and stuff. We will be budgeting for that, I think, like in late spring, early summer. But anyway, so we did spend $204 for his vet visit this month, and then that left him with $258. Next for gifts, we started out with $206, and we didn't budget anything because I didn't think we needed money for gifts. And then I realized there's always these other things that come up that you want to get gifts for people. So we ended up putting $100 in there and spent $298, and so we ended still positive with $8 in our gifts fund. For car maintenance, we started out with $406. We did not put anything in there this month, but we did spend $314. What do we do? I got my car serviced. My husband had to renew his license. I think that's it. And so we still have $92 in that fund. So still positive there. So far so good. Next one, not positive. So house maintenance started out with negative $61. We put $100 in there. We spent exactly $100, and so we ended just how we started at negative $61. So kind of running in place with that fund, but we'll get there. I actually have something, I was just getting a text right now because I was on with customer service for a return for something I bought. And I'm waiting for a refund of like $230. So should get a positive number in that fund for March. Hopefully that refund will go through. Okay, utilities. So utilities have been ugly lately. We started out with $293. We put $400 in there. We spent $678 on utilities, and then we ended with $15 in that fund. So barely holding on to a positive number in that fund. I don't know if $400 next month will cut it. I don't think things have gone down that much. So we may end up with some negative numbers there, but we'll see what happens. And then finally, for Christmas / girls' birthdays, we started out with $150 and we're contributing $150 a month to that fund. My first daughter's birthday isn't till May, and then another birthday in July, and then Christmas obviously is December, so we've got most of the year to save up for the birthdays and then the second half of the year for Christmas. So we do have $300 in this fund though, and we're only planning to spend about $500 on each birthday. So we're well on our way to having the first birthday completely covered, which is really nice because I want to be able to just enjoy those holidays and birthdays and just like have fun and buy the things we want to buy and have the money already set aside so we can just enjoy it, and it's a fun, not financially stressful experience. Okay, so let's take a look at the summaries. So for Pay Yourself First, we had budgeted 1.4%, and that's basically what we put, 1.3% of our income. For debt, we had budgeted 12.7% of our income, and we put 15.1 because we did pay a little bit extra, a few $100 more than we had planned to debt. For expenses, we had budgeted 51% of our income, and we put 49.6, so basically the same. And then for sinking funds, we had budgeted 34.9, and we put 34% to sinking funds. So we were basically on budget, you know, went a little over in groceries, which is just a very common thing that happens, especially in our budget, with a lot of you guys too, I think. And we did put a little bit more to debt than we had planned, which is a great thing. So overall, solid budget month. Only one sinking fund is currently negative, which is great, and it's not that negative. So I feel like we're settling in with a good start for the year, and like our income is sustaining our expenses, and we're able to put a little bit extra towards financial goals, which is always great. So feeling like settled and like good about where we're at financially a couple months into the year. As I mentioned, if you like this spreadsheet, you can get it for yourself. It'll be linked in my Etsy shop. It's an instant download to Google Sheets. And if you like this video, as always, give it a big thumbs up. If you want to see more from me, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.